This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening. This is the open meeting of the Town of Auburn Board of Health, being operated as a hybrid format under Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022. The public can join the meeting remotely or by telephone 224-501-3412 and access code 236-529-341. Or the public can join via computer at the website listed on the town's website. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. As a preliminary matter, my name is Eric Otteson, Chairman of the Board of Health. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda participating remotely are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, respond in the affirmative. Carolyn Griffin.
Here.
And town officials and employees participating when I call your name respond in the affirmative. Tim Pratt. Here. Darlene Coyle.
Here.
Excellent. And this meeting will also be recorded by Auburn Cable Television. And do I have any participants remotely at all? Please state your name if you are. Hearing and seeing them, we'll call the meeting to order. All right. So on the agenda first, we have approval of the minutes, 2/9, 4/22, and 10/7. At all of these. So, yeah.
I know there were a couple meetings where there's different members, but it's you would just be voting to accept the minutes for each meeting.
Yep.
If you're comfortable with.
Gotcha. So we'll do the meetings of February 29th, 2024. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from February 29th, 2024.
And I second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
And Eric Otteson, aye. Those minutes are approved. And next, entertain a motion for April 22nd minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from April 22nd, 2024.
And I second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
And Eric Otteson, aye. And last one is October 7th.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from October 7th, 2024.
And I will second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Eric Otteson, aye. Meetings are accepted.
Thank you so much.
Yep. And next we have a proposed cemetery project introduction at 0 Cemetery Road. Gentlemen, if you want to come on up here and proceed at the table here.
So let me introduce myself. I think Todd will be doing most of the talking. I'm Syed Tahir. I'm one of the physicians who was involved. I'm the beneficiary of the project and the owner of the land where we're trying to build a cemetery, a denominational Muslim cemetery. And the project has been going on for the past few years now. Todd will give you more information about it.
So I'm Todd Curtin. I'm a licensed site professional for Ty and Bond. I know Darlene had indicated talking to David Murphy from my office to come to do introductions, I guess. Relative to, I don't think we have a formal presentation. I think we're saving that for the next meeting, if that makes sense. So I don't have boards. We'll have one of our engineers here as well that did the design, stormwater report, and everything else that went with it. We've been in front of the Conservation Commission, the Planning Board, site plan approval, and the ZBA. This is sort of like the next step that we're at. So I guess if there was detailed questions, I'd probably like to save them, but is there any general questions anyone would like to ask about the conversion? Is a former dump, an illegal dump, or unpermitted dump that operated from roughly 60s and 1980s. And since that time, it's pretty much grown in. You would probably know seeing it now if you went to it and could see through the vegetation, but during the summertime, you may not even know it was there. So best case scenario is actually this, because to remove the amount of material that is there in the soils that are contaminated would be multiple millions. It wouldn't happen. So in this case, with like a landfill in some ways too, or old dumps, it's looking to be capped. But with the capping, we actually have a more of a beneficial use in raising some grades even higher to create a cemetery in a cemetery area. That's partially where the dump area is, but further up from it. And if you know the site at all, it's pretty steeply sloped towards Cemetery Road.
And so this is at Cemetery Road near the Jewish cemetery. Is that there?
Right
correct?
across it, yeah.
Yeah, right across.
Pretty much, yeah. Right, as far as being right across, yes.
And all the fill that you were saying, does that not have to be removed if it's a cemetery?
It doesn't. No, we're bringing in the clean fill at the top. We're bringing in
Okay,
capping
you're gonna cap
material,
it,
raising
then-
grades,
right,
yeah,
okay.
significantly in some areas, yes. And we will have, the whole plan set that's there is showing existing conditions, the change in grades, all the stormwater measurements that are going in, being built into the project to control that. An access roadway from off of Cemetery Road that goes up towards the upper level where there's going to be a turnaround. The cemetery plot area, it's all shown on our design plans that we can review.
And you've done your company's done cemeteries before.
We've been involved with one other in Eastern Mass. We do a lot of landfill work, for sure. So the stormwater piece is big, and the controls of those, and for roadway, site civil, we do a lot of that kind of work. I'm on the side of I do the work that's related to the contamination. So the LSP record for it with the Mass DEP. So that's what I handle. But we have people that do all the other stuff, wetland permitting and all that.
But you have landscape designers, the company that you bought, that was one of the,
Halverson out of Boston, yes.
they're considered one of the most successful, busiest designers for cemeteries. So they have done.
That is true. The Halverson, yeah.
David Murphy, who's the is the vice president on the project, and we met with the DCG when we started with him. He actually has done a similar project in Tewksbury that was St. Mary's Cemetery.
Yeah.
It was 26 acres of land that they had to bring the grade up and build a cemetery on that. So they have a lot of experience with that.
Much smaller site.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any questions on top of your head? No.
Yeah.
And just how I know how, not speaking for the board, we typically defer, a lot to the director and everything, as they're subject matter experts. We're the formality of this as well. So whenever we can, we try to, defer any questions or just not having to wait to come to the board for a meeting on something. If we can, we try to streamline the process as best we can to them. So as you're going through the project and stuff, that's
Yeah.
how we.
Yeah, or
I would prefer. I mean, I don't need to come here. Wouldn't want to delay anything or anything. So.
Agreed.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and thank you for coming this evening, Todd. So for the reason that they would be coming through the process for the Board of Health is as he explained, they have gone through 3 other boards, so Planning Board, Zoning, just in the past couple of weeks, and Conservation. The other approvals, the next approval that they were going through in their timeline was the Board of Health. Because this is a proposed cemetery on Cemetery Road, and there are other cemeteries in the area, the cemetery, when Dr. Saeed had contacted our office, I'm going to say a couple of years ago now. Yes. So the proposed use in that area, I think, is applicable, but the landfill, the unpermitted landfill that Todd is explaining, I think has been some of the challenge on how to handle that. And so the process of proposing this cemetery and then identifying the location, how the land, because it's a pretty large parcel, but I don't
Parcel
think,
is, yeah.
yeah, but you're not putting a cemetery on the whole thing. So I would imagine that when you send in the plan, you'd identify how much area you would be using for the cemetery.
Yep.
And then it is, my understanding, it's a green cemetery. So, how many graves you're proposing, how that is potentially going to affect, like how deep in the ground to the cap that you're proposing and all of those details. So cemeteries, they're not, you don't get a lot of cemeteries that come in as a regular proposal. I do understand that their Ty and Bond has some experience in this area, but as I mentioned to Dr. Saeed and his team, it's probably something that we would send out for a peer review, just to make sure that we have all the appropriate important items being looked at as well. So that was something that was identified early on, but once we get the plan in, then we'll know more.
Now, with it says a large parcel, but only a small is going to be on the, what's the other part?
Yeah, it's like 30 acres, I think, the total land, but this is landlocked between the power lines on the northeastern side of the parcel. That is about 8 acres in size. There's a north-south trending power line and the east-west. That locks us, that's it. And then to the north of us, that's both to the west and to the south. To the north of us is Leicester, a private residence in Leicester. Another private residence to the south of us in Auburn, prior to those power lines. And then to the east is Cemetery Road. So the rest of it's all undeveloped land that has nothing to do with this, and eventually may get subdivided off at a later date. So that area is about 8 acres, and probably 6+ we're going to be impacting, if you will, by tree vegetation clearing, bring it up as we slope down, and then it's sort of up on the top where the cemetery is, which is about 2.2 acres area of cemetery plot space. And I think we put in the ZBA submittal like roughly 2,000 plots.
Wow.
Yeah,
2,000 graves.
yeah, graves, yes.
And is that, you're proposing 2,000, would that be 2,000 separate graves? Or is that, for this type of cemetery, how many bodies can you?
Grave plots, individual single grave plots. So one plot will have one person, one
Okay.
body. So the math that is usually used, an average standard grave, the wall which is used is 3 feet by 8 feet. So that comes out to be 24 feet. Typically, if you look at cemeteries, use up to 70% of their land because they're so short for actual grave plots. We'll be using less than that actually if you build 2,000 graves on it.
Okay, yeah. And the other thing you had mentioned, peer review. So we've had Graves Engineering who goes through, and that's for the stormwater. They've had a lot of other just general questions about, lighting, a lot of things. So that's gone through multiple revisions to answer some of their questions and concerns. So I don't know if is there someone else that you would be using, you think, beyond?
Yes, so Graves is used for planning and potentially like stormwater and the planning review, but it would most likely be another peer.
Okay.
Because my understanding, they do not review cemeteries.
Cemeteries.
Anything else?
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Right, next on the agenda, we have the solid waste recycling schedule that's going on for the month of November on the regular scheduled trash pickup day through our waste management company. They will come pick up the yard waste. And then any news on the hearing, the well variance, septic?
Yeah, I haven't,
Okay.
I have not heard back from the property owner. I will see if he wants to, maybe, remove this, while he's working out. I think he wanted to, look at some vendors, to figure out the costs, for the proposed well.
Gotcha. And then communicable diseases, yes, that's an amazing report here, thank you. All right, and office updates, the free COVID testable kits are available at town buildings.
Yes, we have, we just actually, Tim filled it, up the kits downstairs. They're actually flying off the shelves.
Okay.
So, we have them, in the town hall, and, we're still working on our free delivery from the state.
Excellent. All right, and then we will set up the next meeting by email, and anything else, anything further?
Do you have any questions?
No.
Any questions for me? Right now?
All right, well, I entertain a motion to adjourn, all those in favor?
I will make a motion to adjourn today's meeting of November 4th, and I am in favor.
And, Eric, us, and I in favor as well, so we'll adjourn the meeting, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.